me. Hello and welcome everybody back to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. Again, this is round 3, main event, top 32 here at Pascani MotorPark. My name is Craig. With me, as always, is Tanner. What's up, Tanner?
What is happening, Craig? What an amazing qualifying that we watched here at this fictional track, and what a banger it has been. It is such a great track, and it's so hard for these drivers to kind of hide behind little mistakes, as it's all out there in the open for the judges to see. So it made qualifying absolutely entertaining. Even though we brought in the last 16 battles, to get into the last 16 battles day, you still needed an 88.
Yeah, absolutely. Big scores required to make it into competition today. But through our last 16, 3 of those drivers wouldn't have normally made it into the top 32. But through those battles, they fought it out and made their way into the top 32. We'll take a look at today's top 32 bracket. Artem Chulkov and Luciano Carneiro will start things out for us on that left side of the bracket. We'll work down the left side and then go over to the right side and then work our way through the top 16 after these first battles. If you're just now joining us and missed out on qualifying, here is today's line map. Start of the course at the top of the screen, and entering in just over 100 miles an hour with a teeny tiny little decel there to protect that lead driver, and then off they go, just full throttle all the way through turn 1 and really kind of all the way through the course. A teeny tiny little off throttle area allowed there just before clip 8, making that real snappy transition through that section of the course, and then your decel zone into clip 10. Really tough outside zone to get to and stay in all the way through that outside line. You're clipped in. There is a small wall just off of that track edge, but it's really there for more of a reference to give to the drivers rather than the drivers riding that wall. It is marked on the course for them. Those yellow lines indicate the edge of the track. Throughout the rest of the track, like clip 2, 4, 5, and 8 and 9 all have white lines indicating where that track edge should be, except for clip 8 that utilizes every single bit of that course that is allowed to make a nice arc into clip 8. So it's again, as you pointed out, it was a fun qualifying session to watch as we see a 3-man go through during practice. Again, drivers just getting their last little bit of practice runs in before we kick things off here for today's main event. And last call from those judges. And we will have our first battle coming up to the line for Pascani MotorPark. And there they are, coming to the line. Artem changing chassis, no longer in that FD RX-7 that he did so well in round 1. Now in a brand new M2.
That is right. Artem in that M2 in the lead lane. He is our #1 qualifier of the day. Beside him, Luciano Carneiro, getting in from the last 16 battles, is now going to be up against him to hopefully move on to the top 16, or will Artem hang on to what he has learned and done so well today and move on himself. The lights go on, and the first battle here of the top 32 is underway. Artem out front, Luciano chasing. Huge flick entry into outside zone 1. Luciano sticking right to the rear quarter panel of Artem, though, as they come through outer zone 3, now transitioning to outer zone 4. Luciano giving them no breathing room as they transition to outer zone 6 and 7. Looking good so far. The final transition, the final outside zone. And what a good job from the chase and the lead.
Yeah, what a way to kick off today's main event. Artem entering in here on this replay and really snapping the angle, working that car out to outside zone 2 and then back down for that inside clip. Doing a really good job. Could have been a little bit tighter there, but Luciano right there along that bumper through that first transition, hanging on to him as well. Look at there again along that bumper as they continue on. Luciano does fall back quite a bit through that last section of the course, tries to reel him in, and there they go across that finish line.
Well, we'll see if Artem can put up just as much fight as Luciano did in that chase position. Luciano now in the lead. Artem ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and the second half of this battle is underway here in the top 32. Initiating in is Luciano, and a little more modest this time was Artem, but slowly reeling in that door before outer zone 2, and now right on the side of Luciano in that lead position, transitioning down the middle half of this course. Artem giving Luciano no breathing room on that transition, almost touching the bumper, but getting away with it as they come into that final outer zone. They hit that bump. No, that wasn't contact, it's a bump, and Artem sticks right to the door of Luciano.
Yeah, doing a really good job in that chase position. Let's take another look. Luciano out front here in this replay. Good initiation. Very smooth from Luciano, working out to that outside zone 2, right along that white line we mentioned on the line map. Tight to that inside clip. Good transition, but Artem right there along the bumper. Through that second transition as well. You see Luciano go a little bit wide there. Continuing on, and there, Artem applying just a little bit more pressure in that last and final outside zone, but lead to lead. I mean, almost identical, but chase to chase. Maybe Artem has a small advantage, but we'll wait and see what the judges have to say between these two. A tough one to call to start things out here in the top 32. And it looks like we have a decision already. Look at there, moving left, unanimous decision. Artem Chulkov gets the win over Luciano Carneiro, but a really good battle to start things off.
It definitely was, and a good job on Luciano for making his way all the way from the last 16 up to the top 32 battle, but it is ultimately Artem who we will see in the top 16. Next battle at the line, Brandon Gardner in that NOS energy drink Z, and then beside him in that chase position, is Ethan Pikachu in another Z. So battle of the Z's here. Down the straight they come. Initiating in. Looking good out front for Brandon Gardner. But look at Ethan applying that pressure early on into outer zone 2. Still staying right with them through outer zone 3. Now into outer zone 4. They make that transition through outer zone 5. Transitioning into outer zone 6. Ethan giving him no breathing room. Ethan putting it on the door any chance he gets. Brandon doing a great job out front, but Ethan mimicking him the whole way down the track.
Yeah, another way to start things out here in the top 32. Brandon Gardner out front in his Z. Ethan giving chase in his Z, and they enter in nicely together as they work up into outside zone 2. Ethan applying that pressure in that chase position right along that inside clip. They continue on into the power alley section. Flying through the course now, right along that track edge is Brandon Gardner out front doing a really good job in the lead position, and there right along the bumper is Ethan through that last and final transition of the course, and a small bobble there, maybe some contact in that last and final outside zone.
Yeah, it looked like, I'm not too sure what that was in that last outside zone, but we'll leave that for the judges as they're already at the line and ready to go for the second half of their battle. Ethan now in that lead position with Brandon Gardner ready to chase him down. The light goes on, down the straight they come, initiating into outer zone 1, looking good. Look at the pressure from Brandon off that initiation through outer zone 1. Getting right close to the door of Ethan through outer zone 2 and through that inside clip, losing some ground there on the transition to outer zone 4. He surges up through 5 to try and regain that proximity he lost. Back on the door through outer zone 7 and into that final one. Maybe a bit of over rotation there from Ethan going into that final outer zone, causing the contact there from Brandon Gardner.
Yeah, tough one there. Let's take another look at it. Ethan out front, initiating in, doing a good job. Pulling just a little bit of angle out, works out to outside zone 2. Brandon applying the pressure, but then slowly starts to fall back through outside zone 3. And then through 4 and that inside clip, Brandon reels him in. Staying with him now through the second half of this course. Good transition, and then yeah, as you pointed out, just a ton of angle and a lot of speed drop from Ethan Pikachu out front. I think we could all visibly see that drop in speed from Ethan, but you know, judges are going to take their time. They're going to take some looks at it and assess who is at fault for that incident, and they will make a decision. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there it is, unanimous decision. Brandon Gardner does get the win. He moves on into the top 16, but a good battle from Ethan Pikachu.
Yeah, Ethan just messing up with that quick mistake, but there's still many rounds to go here in the Virtual Drift Championship. Next battle up in the top 32, Robert Kwiecinski in the BMW up against Stanislav Tarasov in the Ferrari. The light goes on and off they go. Down the straight to start this next top 32 battle. Initiating in, Stanislav already on the door off the initiation through outer zone 1, trying to stay as close as possible through outer zone 2, a little wavering and a little far inside is the chase driver, taking out that inside clip, but still managing to stick right on the door of Robert Kwiecinski out front as they transition through outer zone 6 and 7, leaving enough room for that transition into that final outer zone. Right along the door is Stanislav, really showing out here. Had a tandem on this track.
Yeah, let's go back to that replay. Robert out front in his BMW being chased down by the big giant Ferrari in that chase position. Look at the pressure being applied. He has to back off. And now we can see that Stanislav is sacrificing a little bit of line there. You see him center punt that inside clip, but applying the pressure nonetheless. I mean, right on the bumper as they make that first transition. Sticking right there with him through the second one. Robert on a really good lead line though. Good transition into the last and final outside zone. Nice and smooth out front, but Stanislav in that chase position, door to door.
Robert is going to have his work cut out for him in the second half of this battle. Stanislav now slotted into that lead lane. Robert ready to chase him down. He's going to have to show all the aggression here while keeping it clean. Initiating in is Stanislav, looking good. A little further back this time through outer zone 1 is Robert in that chase position, but he quickly makes up for it through outer zone 2. Around that inside clip they come, and down through outer zone 3. Robert trying to apply the pressure that Stanislav did, keeping it close to that door without making contact, but still seems like Stanislav's able to run away with them a little bit. As into the decel zone, Robert goes into Stanislav, putting him in the wall and effectively ending this run.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Stanislav out front, good initiation, getting out ahead with a good lead there to start the course out. And we see Robert sacrifice a lot of angle through that outside zone too. A little hard to see through that smoke. They continue on. Robert trying his best in that chase position. Look at there, right along the bumper. Stanislav coming into the last and final zone. And we see there, it is quite backwards coming into that zone. It does seem that he picks up throttle on time. But again, we saw earlier that picking up throttle doesn't always mean that you're doing the right thing. There, you know, if you drop too much speed coming into that zone, you can be dinged with fault for contact. So we'll let those judges take their time, look that over, and come up with a decision between those two, because that contact quite literally ended the run right there. So it's going to come down to it. Judges really taking their time on this one, as they should. It's a tough one to call coming into that last and final outside zone. There is a decel coming into it, of course, and then drivers need to be back on throttle fairly early. But again, it doesn't always mean they're doing it right. Only really a certain amount of speed that you can really drop. Drop too much and kind of park the car, you can be deemed at fault, as we saw earlier. And Chris goes left for Robert. Ed goes right for Stanislav. So a mixed bag of things. And Matt moves right as well. Stanislav gets the win over Robert, and we'll see him move forward into the top 16.
Well, a heartfelt battle for Stanislav, but eventually, after a long deliberation, getting the win and taking one of the next spots in the top 16. We quickly move on to our next battle. Ebanks in the R35 in that lead position beside Oliver Effinger in that Toyota Supra. The lights come on and this battle is underway. Through the start gate nice and clean, no restarts needed. Initiating in is Kwiecinski. Oliver Effinger, though, quickly regaining ground loss off the initiation and on the door, leaving a good proximity for outer zone 3, keeping his Supra right where it needs to be. Kwiecinski out front doing a great job as right along the bumper transitions. Oliver in that Supra into the final outer zone they come over the bump. Oliver not wavered and on the door of Kwiecinski.
He certainly was. Let's take another look at it here on the replay between these two. Kwiecinski out front and certainly being chased down by Oliver Effinger and his Supra. Kwiecinski getting out to a good start there through that initiation, but quickly reeled in by Oliver Effinger in that Supra as they work their way around that inside clip. Oliver doing a good job to stay with Kwiecinski, who doesn't quite fill outside zone 3. Fills that one though, and then look at there, tucking that front bumper of the Supra into the back of that GTR as they work their way into this last and final outside zone. And across that finish line with Oliver Effinger applying some pressure.
Yeah, Oliver wanting to advance on, but we'll see how the second half of this battle plays out. Oliver Effinger now in that lead lane with Kwiecinski, Ebanks ready to chase him down. Can Kwiecinski bring the heat like Oliver did in that chase position? Initiating in, looking good so far already. Kwiecinski, Ebanks on the door of Oliver Effinger through that inside clip and reaching out to outer zone 3. Transitioning along the bumper, applying the pressure. Our lead driver doing a good job out here. Oliver putting the car where it needs to be, but Kwiecinski not letting up, not letting him run away. He's going to keep the car right where it needs to be as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for these judges. Oliver Effinger this time out front here in the replay. Initiating in, and Kwiecinski applying some pressure a little bit sooner, and Oliver not quite filling outside zone 2. Center punches that inside clip, but then fills outside zone 3 nicely. Grabs 4 as well. Kwiecinski again applying pressure in that chase position. Not quite as close on that transition there. Falls back just a little bit and then right back onto it, while Oliver drops just a little bit of tire, but has really good momentum coming into that last and final outside zone. And we go to our judges. Kwiecinski on the left, Oliver Effinger on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. There we go. Looks like we have a decision. And so we had it one more time from Chris, Ed, and Matt choose Oliver Effinger to move forward. And we'll see him in the top 16. Tough battle between those two.
Very tough battle indeed, but a good job from Oliver. I mean, that aggression he showed in that chase was absolutely masterclass.
Absolutely, just applying crazy pressure all through the course. Really, stuffing his bumper into the back of the GTR and not affecting the transition. Well done from Oliver Effinger. That's going to do it for our first group of top 32. Our next group will load in. Mustafa and William will face off first. Alan Hines and Samuel Kuti next. Alexander Element and Riley Sobush. Danielis Parangauskas and Austin Zalewski all up next here in the top 32 main event. Drivers just taking their last little bit of practice runs before we send them off for the second group of top 32. It's been some exciting battles so far. And if you missed the last 16 battles, go back and watch those later as well, and how we got here to the top 32. Again, top 28 drivers are locked into that top 32, and then 29 through 44 battle it out amongst each other to grab those last 4 spots in the top 32. Like drivers are at the line, just waiting for the last practice runs to finish up. And it's going to be Mustafa Anime and William Holloway.
That is right at the line in the Mazda RX-7 RX-8, sorry, in that lead lane is Mustafa Amine, qualifying 4th today and absolutely swinging out there in qualifying up against William Holloway in that FD RX-7, and William having to fight for this spot here in the last 16 battles. We'll see how this battle does here. Initiating in is Mustafa. William trying to initiate with him. Dropping a little tire was Mustafa out front as he came through outer zone 1. Gets through outer zone 2. Little ground lost there from the chase of William Holloway, but he quickly regains it through that inside clip as they transition now through outer zone 4 down to 5. Leaving no breathing room now is William Holloway. They come through outer zone 7 into 8. And look at that. Right on the door is William Holloway to Mustafa Amine.
Yeah, really clean from the both of them. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. Mustafa out front. Good initiation there. Really swinging that car in. Holding that line. Holding that angle. Does fall a little bit shy of outside zone 2. Could have been deeper. Could have been tighter to the inside clip. But William in that chase position right there with him. Falling back just a little bit through that first transition. Reels him back in. Trying to stay with Mustafa in that RX-8, really smooth into that last and final outside zone. And there they go across that finish line.
Well, back around at the start gate and ready to battle it out yet again is William Holloway and Mustafa Amine. William now in that lead position. Mustafa ready to chase him down. The light goes on and off they go. Down the straight, initiating in. The pressure from Mustafa was already there, but then lost a little bit through outer zone 1. As they get through outer zone 2, Mustafa's starting to get onto that door of William. They come through outer zone 3 now, leave room for the transition. Losing ground yet again was Mustafa on that transition, trying to regain that proximity of being on the door of William, but nothing really happening. They're into the last outer zone now. And now he's starting to get on the door of William just as they finish out that run.
Yeah, here we go back to that replay with William out front in the second half of this battle. Facing off against Mustafa, entering in nice and snappy from William out front. Working up to outside zone 2, much deeper there. All the way to that track edge, down to the inside clip, really tight to it. Mustafa right there with him so far through the course, but through that transition, falls back. Trying to reel William back in. And right along the bumper through that second transition. Again, a bit of a gap in between them two. Mustafa reeling him in for this last and final outside zone. There they go across that finish line. And we go to our judges. Mustafa on the left, William Holloway on the right. Looks like we have a decision. We do. Unanimous. William Holloway moves on into the top 16. So a driver that went through the last 16 moves on into the top 16.
Well, good job there indeed from William Holloway to put the car where it needed to be and have that aggression. Showed it in the last 16 battles, showed it in the top 32, and now we'll get to show off one more time in the top 16. Now for our next battle, qualifying 13th in the S15, the Hines car, Alan Hines in that lead lane. Then in the chase position, qualifying 20th, Samuel Kuti. The light goes on and this next battle is underway. Alan Hines out front, Samuel Kuti chasing him down. They initiate into outer zone 1 and look good through that first outer zone into outer zone 2. Samuel trying to get as close to that door of Alan Hines as possible, but Alan Hines is so quick out there. Samuel Cutty's having to play a bit of catch-up by cutting that inside clipping point just a little bit to try and regain some proximity as they come into that final outer zone. Now Samuel able to get up on the door of Alan, and they finish out that run.
Yeah, good start to this battle. We'll take another look here. Alan Hines out front in his S15, entering in nicely. 14. Samuel sticking with him there all the way up into outside zone 2, and then starts to fall back there through inside clip. They continue on here. Alan comes up a little bit short of that outside zone, but grabs the next one, and there, Samuel Cutty back into the fight. Trying to reel him back in for this last and final outside zone. Perfectly executed by Alan Hines.
Well, back around at the start gate and ready to do the second half of their battle. Samuel Cutty now in that lead lane in the BMW, being chased down by Alan Hines. They initiate in and looking good. Alan Hines a lot closer off the initiation through outer zone 1 and on the door through outer zone 2, trying to find his way through that inside clip. They make it through outer zone 3, leaving no room on that transition. Alan Hines gets back on the door of Samuel Cutty. Samuel Cutty doing a good job out front here, putting the car exactly where it needs to be. But Alan Hines is all over the door of Samuel Cutty as they finish out the second half of this battle.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Samuel out front. Alan coming way off from the left-hand side of the course, but it pays off there as he's on the door all the way up to outside zone 2 and follows him through the inside clip down into outside zone 3, where Samuel could have been a little bit deeper. He's good on 4 though, and 5, using a little bit of left foot brake there. Good transition. Alan right there in that chase position, diving into the last and final outside zone. There they go across that finish line, this time with Alan right along that door of Samuel Cutty, and we go to our judges. Alan on the left, Samuel on the right. Looks like we have a quick decision, and it is unanimous decision. Alan Hines gets the win, and we'll see him in the top 16.
Well, a good battle there, and a good job from Alan Hines to move on into the top 16. Our next battle at the start gate, ready to go in that lead position, is Alexander Element. Beside him in that Sylvia is Riley Sobush. They are ready to go and ready to get the next top 32 battle underway. Alexander Element qualifying 5th. Riley qualifying 28th today. The lights go on and off they go. Down the straight, initiating in is Alexander Element. Far behind that initiation is Riley. Riley going way up high and losing a lot of ground through outer zone 2, taking a very cut inside line to try and regain that proximity. But Alexander Element is just flying. Now after cutting the second inside clip, Riley is finally in the pocket, ready to go and bring the fight to Alexander Element, but it might be too little too late for the first half of this battle.
Yeah, let's go back and look at that initiation between these two, because that's where Element really gets off to a good start. Initiating in on time, tons of speed, and Riley getting offline, off angle, trying his best to reel him back in. Even looks like he was maybe out of drift there through that inside clip, but there he is back into the fight with Alexander Element as they work through the rest of this course. Nicely done in the last and final outside zone and across that finish line.
Well, back around at the start gate, they are ready for the second half of this battle. Riley now in the lead with Alexander ready to chase him down. Riley's really got to get the pedal to the floor on this lead run, or else the speed of Alexander Element will stick to his door the entire way. They initiate in through outer zone 1, and already Alexander trying to get on the attack, trying to put it on the door. Riley doing a good job out front here so far. A little bit of dirt kicked up there from the chase driver of Alexander Element. Element not letting him run away with it. He's getting it on the door. He's keeping it in the pocket. He is not letting Riley get away as they transition in that very last outer zone. On the door sticks Alexander Element to Riley.
Yeah, let's take a look at the second half of their battle here. Riley out front, initiating in almost a little late there as he works out to the outside zone too. Alexander reels him in quickly as they work through that inside clip. We see there Alexander offline just a little bit in that chase position, dropping tire, but then reeling him back in, staying with him, staying in the fight with Riley Sobush. And nicely done for the last and final outside zone, but we see there Riley going off into the grass just a little bit. And we go to our judges. Alexander Element with the wrong picture on the left and Riley Sobush on the right. And there it is. Alexander Element gets the win, and we'll see him in the top 16.
A good job there from Alexander Element. Moving on, and we'll see him later on this afternoon. But now the final battle of this half of the bracket for the top 32. Danielis in the BMW up against Austin Zalewski in that 370Z. Danielis in the lead lane, Austin in the chase, initiating in. Looking good, but Austin already on the attack off that initiation through outer zone 1. A little bobble there from the chase as he quickly regains the ground lost through that inside clip, coming through outer zone 3, leaving no room on that transition to breathe. I'm at a loss for words as we come through the back half of this section. Danielis doing a great job out front, but Austin is just on the attack, trying to keep that car right beside Danielis the whole way around.
There we go with the correct replay on the screen. There we see Danielis work through that inside clip, and really clean by both of these drivers working through the course. Danielis doing what he needs to do in that lead position. Again, just real clean there. A small tiny correction there coming into that zone, but nicely done coming into the last and final one with Austin doing what he needs to do in that chase. We line him back up. Austin will now lead.
Well, now back at the front, you are right. Austin in that lead lane with Danielis ready to chase him down. Austin was being super aggressive on his chase run. Danielis has to do the same, initiating in. Look at that. Danielis already on the door as they get up to outer zone 2 and staying on that door through that inside clip. Austin out front doing a good job so far in the first half of this course. They come into outer zone 5. Danielis is not letting him run away at all, staying in that pocket, leaving the room he needs in the XL off zones, the decel zones, but then right back onto the door like a magnet.
Yeah, really applying some good pressure there in that chase position. We'll go back to the replay here. Austin Zalewski initiating in nicely, filling that first outside zone and then working out to the second one. Could have been just a little bit deeper. We want to see that tire on that white line, but nicely done for that inside clip. And that next outside zone, Danielis in the chase position right there in the fight, right along the bumper through that second transition. So they work out to the next outside zone and the final one there. Danielis making a dive in for it. And there they go, door to door across that finish line. We go to our judges again. Danielis on the left, Austin Zalewski on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there we go. We have a decision. Danielis gets the win over Austin Zalewski and moves on into the top 16. Really good battle between those two and a tough one to call.
A very tough one indeed, and a great battle between those two. I mean, both of them brought the aggression. They showed that they're here. Why all these drivers are here in the Virtual Drift Championship is to advance on and hopefully win the season.
Yeah, absolutely a tough competition this season between all of these drivers, even including the last 16 qualifying battles. But there's your bracket so far. Left side of the bracket done and completed. Drivers just taking their last bit of practice runs here in this next group. Top 32, and Darius Ostreika and Kevin Stump will end up starting us out. In case you were wondering, yes, the track will be getting a public release shortly. It might not be today, but it will be soon and available for everyone and be on our public servers. So be on the lookout for that. Really fun course, full commitment all the way throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's for a fan-made track, you know, just no references to go off, just building one. It's an awesome little track here, and I'm so happy that we got the permission to use it, because it is a crazy amount of fun, to the point where I even put my wheel back together and was like, all right, let's do some runs.
For sure. There's a lot of stuff on this course as well. Really good for racing too. Just every single feature you could really ask for with the 00 fantasy tracks there off Race Department, which you can go and download, you know, right now.
So looks like our next battle is at the line. And looks like they're ready to go. In that lead lane is going to be our second place qualifier, Darius Ostreika, up against Kevin Stump in that Z, who qualified 31st today. And got in because of the last 16 battle. The lights go on and down the straight they go. Initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. Darius just hanging that car out there. Kevin in that chase position, trying to catch up, trying to regain that proximity and get it into the pocket, which he manages to do as they come into outer zone 5 now, leaving his bumper on the bumper of Darius and shuts it down. Like, he didn't leave enough room for the transition for Darius. Darius was able to stay on throttle, but then Kevin just wasn't able to get back in it. Ended up shutting down the run.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Darius Ostreika out front, good initiation. Kevin Stump doing a good job in the chase position so far as well. Really filling that outside zone is Darius. Really good lead line here through the course. Nice and smooth on the transition. And then there we see just a little bit too much bumper. And doesn't leave enough room for that transition. And really, as we see, affected Kevin more than it did Darius. Darius continues on. Kevin shuts things down. But we have a second half of the battle, and anything can happen.
Anything can happen indeed. Now that NOS Energy Drink Z is in the lead lane, driven by Kevin Stump, ready to show what he can do. But Darius Ostreika in that BMW, ready to hunt him down in that chase position. The lights go on, and this top 32 battle is underway, the second half of it. Initiating in is Kevin Stump. pulling away a little bit there from Darius, but Darius reels him in by outer zone 2. Starts to get right on that door as they come through the inside clip and out to outer zone 3, leaving almost no room for that transition. They come through the next inside clip in outer zone 5, now to outer zone 6 and 7. Looks like Kevin's pulling away just a little bit through that section, but now Darius trying to apply that pressure and get back up on the door. Doesn't quite get there, though, by the finish line.
Yeah, let's take a look at the second half here. Kevin Stump out front this time. Good initiation in, but does kind of lack a little bit of angle. He slowly rotates into it after that initiation, but Darius doing a good job in that chase position, staying with him anyways, right along that bumper through the first transition. Good line from Kevin Stump out front. Good transition there as well. Last and final transition. Nicely done by both of those drivers as they work across that finish line, and we go to our judges. And I'm not sure if that is right just yet. So yeah, now we have the wrong battle on the screen. We wait for the guys to sort that out. Yeah, so on the screen there was wrong, but I believe Darius Ostreika is going to get the win for that battle. It looks like they changed the names a bit early there. We'll wait for confirmation from those judges here. All right, moving on up to those judges, and that is correct. Darius gets the win, and we're on to our next battle, Cameron Mustard and Maxime Tinguy.
We sure are, and already at the line, they are. Cameron Mustard, qualifying number 15 today in that R32, up against Maxime Tinguy, qualified 18th in the chase lane. Who will go on to see Darius Ostreika in the top 16?
Like judges having a little bit of technical difficulties there, sorting those background graphics out. Big shout out to Ali Yusuf, Dion, and Carl, all working in the background, as well as those judges, Chris, Ed, and Matt, judging today. Believe they're about ready. Has some folks disconnect from the TeamSpeak where we normally have, cross comms. Judges can hear us, so they know when to send cars and when not. And look at their lights are on. They're ready.
Alrighty, well, let's try this one more time. Cameron Mustard out front in that R32, being chased down by the Sylvia. Maxime Tinguy initiating in for this top 32 battle. Looking good off the initiation through outer zone 2. Maxime already on the attack and on the door of Cameron Mustard as they come through outer zone 3. Not filling it fully was our lead driver, but losing a lot of angle and having to take a really shallow line was the chase driver Maxime Tinguy to that second outside zone. Into the last outer zone now, and Cameron doing a good job out front. Maxime on the door past that finish.
Yeah, let's take a second look at it here with Cameron Mustard out front. Maxime giving chase, and a good initiation. Nicely done, working out to outside zone 2, almost all the way up to that white line. But Maxime doing a good job in that chase position, staying with him almost along that bumper. It does fall back And there we see a lot of the line being cut from Maxime in that chase position, maybe making his transition just a little too early to start that course out. And there they go across that finish line, now door to door.
Well, back around at the start, they're ready for the second half of their battle. Maxime Tinguy now in that lead lane with Cameron Mustard ready to chase him down. The lights go on in the second half of this top 32 battle is underway, initiating in. Looking good, Cameron Mustard trying to get the attack on early through outer zone 2. Kicking up a bit of dirt was our lead driver through outer zone 2, but making it work as they come through outer zone 3. Cameron on the attack here, keeping it in the pocket. A little bit of angle loss there from our lead driver as he tried to transition into outer zone 6. Now through 7, into 8. Wide goes Maxime into the wall. Dropping 2 tire, almost getting opposite lock. We'll have to revert to the replay to see if that was maybe an incomplete or not.
Yeah, it really looked like he came in flying. We'll take another look here, working out the outside zone 2. Kicking up just a little bit of dirt there as Maxime out front. Otherwise, on a good line here. There, Cameron right along the bumper and doing a good job through inside clip 2. Working their way through the course here. Maxime using a little bit of rumble, and there you see him just flying into that last and final outside zone and going off course. We go to our judges. Cameron Mustard on the left, Maxime Tinguy on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. It's like a quick decision, and it is. Cameron Mustard gets the win over Maxime and moves on.
Well, a good job from Cameron in that R32. He goes up against Darius Ostreika later on today with our next battle already at the line. We got Reese Tatterson in the 370Z up against Brandon Patrick in that Ferrari. The light goes on and off they go for this top 32 battle. Initiating in is Reese Tatterson. Right behind him, though, is Brandon Patrick, trying to get up on that door, trying to close that proximity as they come through the inside clip. A little bit of an angle adjustment there from the lead as they came through that inside clip, but now they start making their way through the rest of this course. Brandon trying to keep all the pressure he can onto Reese Tatterson. Reese Tatterson kicking up some dirt there. They slow down for that final outside turn, but Brandon Patrick just looks like he carried too much speed and hits the rear end of Reese Tatterson.
Yeah, I really tried to save him there, too, to get him across that finish line. We'll take another look here. Reese initiating in, nice and snappy to that angle. Does make a small correction there. Could have been deeper on outside zone 2. And there we see him pull angle and then add it back around that inside clip. Working through that next outside zone. Brandon right there with him. And there we see another correction from Reese out front. Pull angle out, and then it puts him wide for that next outside zone. But they continue on. And they're coming into the last and final one. It is closed, whether there's some contact there before coming down off that jump. But man, good way to start things out.
A great way indeed. And back at the start line, we have Brandon Patrick now in the lead lane, ready to show us what he can do out front. And Reese Tatterson ready to chase him down. The lights go on in the second half of this top 32 battle is underway. Initiating in, looking good for Brandon Patrick, but Reese on the attack off of outside zone 1 through outside zone 2, keeping a nice proximity to Brandon Patrick, taking that inside line though for the chase and cutting that inside clip quite a bit as they come through outer zone 6, leaving no room for the transition. Was Reese Tatterson there? He wants to advance on as into the wall again goes Brandon Patrick. And that gives the door an open opportunity for Reese Tatterson.
Yeah, let's take another look at it. I'm not sure if he ended up grabbing a piece of the wall or not, as we didn't really see any dirt pop up, and that car just really lacks a rear end, but he works all the way out to outside zone 2. Reese on a little bit tighter line, falling back just a little bit, but does a good job there through that first transition. Brandon Patrick dialed in on the line here out front. But Reeves applying pressure all the way through this course and almost going backwards there, down off of it. Yeah, he stays on course, continues on across that finish line. But it really is just going to come down to whatever that was that happened in the first half of the battle between those two. And whether there was contact or not to affect Reeves in a negative way that led to him looping the car in that last and final outside zone. Even though Brandon tried to help him across the line there afterwards, it will still come down to that. Reeves Tatterson on the left, Brandon Patrick on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Yeah, Vert pointing that out. These two were on the thumbnail of the live stream.
Oh, hey. Coincidence.
Predicted. You know, follow the script. And there it goes. Yeah, Reeves Tatterson is going to get the win over Brandon Patrick. But a fun battle between friends.
Yeah, always great to see these two go at it. They always put on a good show for us. But Reeves Tatterson, qualifying 7th, moves on to the top 16. Our next battle approaches the line. Steven Hatcher, qualifying 10th today in that S2000, up against Ernestus Jakubelis in the S14, qualifying 23rd. Steven in that lead lane, ready to rock and roll. Ernestus ready to chase him down. They wait for those lights to ignite so we can start this next top 32 battle. The lights go on and underway we are. Out the gate they come. Steven Hatcher gets on throttle, initiates in. Ernestus initiates with them, dropping a little tire there. Was Steven Hatcher through outer zone 1, but Ernestus on the attack, already getting right on the door of the S2000 to Steven Hatcher as they come through outer zone 3. Little more tire drop there from our lead driver through both of those outer zones. They come through outer zone 6 now through 7. Transitioning into the final outer zone. Looks like Ernestus didn't leave enough room for that transition, but not enough to upset Steven into that final outer zone.
Now let's go back on the replay here. Steven Hatcher out front in his S2000, leading Ernestus through the course. Nice and snappy initiation. Could have been deeper on outside zone 2 as they work up that bank and back down it across that inside clip. Nicely done by both of them. Good transition. Ernestus trying to apply that pressure. We see a little waver there from Steven out front through that inside clip and into the next outside zone. And then, yeah, little something there through that last and final transition. But hard to tell if there was any contact or if it was just maybe a little bit of lag from Steven out front. It's tough. He keeps it going, and they finish across that finish line.
Yeah, even me, I kind of had that feeling too. Maybe it could have been a bit of lag, but I kind of call it in the moment when I see it.
It's tough.
It is. As we see them back at the line, the lights are already on. Ernestus now in that lead position for the second half of this battle with Steven Hatcher ready to chase him down. Initiating in is Ernestus and looking good. Hatcher trying to apply that early pressure through outer zone 2. That little smaller S2000 trying to get on the door, and definitely is as they come through outer zone 3 and transition through outer zone 4. Steven right on the door, even looking for an early lunge onto Ernestus, but it doesn't work for him and he hits him off track. Oh, Steven.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate one to see there as we take another look. Ernestus out front, initiating in. Steven doing a good job in that chase position as they work out to that outside zone 2. Nicely done for the inside clip. But here we see Steven really slow to rotate through that transition, and then even slower here, and that car just rocket ships forward. Hits Ernestus off the track, unfortunately. And there we see Steven continue on through the course. And we'll go to our judges. Steven Hatcher on the left, Ernestus on the right. Here come those decisions. And it is unanimous. Ernestas gets the win over Steven Hatcher and moves on into the top 16. So that's another group of top 32 run and finish. Darius Ostreika, Cameron Mustard, Reese Tatterson, and Ernestas Gulabis all moving on into the top 16. But next up, Zako Sullivan and Ethan Minnema, John Reeves and Daniel Andreev, Tikhon Pleski and Ryan Litteral, and Lazam Asal and Artem Makashenko will round out the top 32 here for round 3, Pascani MotorPark. Last call from those judges being called. Last and final little practice runs before we bring up Zako Sullivan, Ethan Minnema.
Here come our drivers to the line. In the lead lane in the Sim Magic S14 will be last year's champion, Zach O'Sullivan. And beside him, Ethan Minnema in the S15. Now, Ethan has shown us some crazy aggression already. Coming in from the last 16 battles, he knows what's up and already has a bit of tandem practice here for battles. But Zach is no one to shake a stick at. So this should be a very entertaining battle for us. As the lights go on, we go into the last part of the top 32. Zach Sullivan initiates in. Ethan Minnema right there with him off the initiation on the door through outer zone 2, keeping a good proximity through that inside clip down to outer zone 3. Ethan Minnema trying to keep up with Zach O'Sullivan, keeping it in that pocket, making that transition through outer zone 5 and 6. The final transition now on the wall, or on the line, on that outer edge, wheel to wheel across that finish line.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here with Zach out front being chased down by Ethan. They initiate in. Nice and snappy from Zach O'Sullivan, working up to that outside zone 2, but Ethan right there with him. Zach dialed in on the angle there. Very smooth transition. Ethan applying that pressure in that chase position right along the bumper, but it does take him a few seconds to make that second transition, and then right on into the pocket there in that chase position and across that finish line.
Well, back around at the start gate, they're ready for the second half of this battle. Ethan Minnema will now lead it out with Zach O'Sullivan ready to chase him down. The lights go on in the second half of this top 32 battle is underway. Lighting up the tires the whole way down are both drivers initiating in. They look good. Good proximity there from Zach O'Sullivan, really trying to push the boundaries through outer zone 2 and that inside clip through outer zone 3, transitioning along the bumper. Ethan out front here doing a great job in the lead, but just giving Zach, making it his life as a chase driver a little easier as they come into that final outer zone. Zach is all over the door of Ethan Minnema. Whoa, a close
Oh
ending.
my goodness gracious. Let's take another look at it here. Ethan out front this time. Zach giving chase. Ethan gets off to a good start. Quick initiation. Zach reels him in quickly. A little bit tighter line there in that chase position, but the proximity is there. He is along that door through that inside clip. Stays with him through that first transition. Reels him back in, staying along that door. Backs off when he needs to. And there we see Ethan go a little bit wide for that transition. And then here in this last and final outside zone, we see Ethan go a little bit wide. We see some dirt pop up there. It slows him down a little bit. And maybe that's where that contact comes from, going across that finish line. We go to our judges. Zach Sullivan on the left, Ethan Minnema on the right. Looks like we're gonna have a split car. We do. Ed chooses Zach Sullivan, but Chris and Matt both choose one more time, and we'll line them back up for a second battle.
So the first one more time to happen here in the top 32. We had one of them, I think, in the last 16. But first one here in the top 32. Zach Sullivan now back in the lead lane in the Sim Magic S14 up against Ethan Minnema in that chase position in the S15. The lights go on and the one more time battle is underway. Initiating in, Ethan tried to make it aggressive but kind of lost out on that initiation through outer zone 1, but he makes up for it through outer zone 2, getting even closer this time around, leaving no room for error on that transition as they come into outer zone 5. Another transition here into outer zone 6. Ethan trying to keep it on the door, trying to not let Zach move away as they come through that finish line wheel to wheel and door to door.
Yeah, absolutely. But I have to say, the lead from Zach that he just put on was spectacular. Could have been maybe a little bit deeper on that first outside zone with initiation, but fills the next outside zone too. While we see Ethan make a big mistake in that chase position through that initiation, but then bringing the fight to Zach, applying that pressure on the bumper through these transitions, but Zach dialed in on this lead run, and here, just floating on into that last and final outside zone, stays along that yellow line and across that finish line, but Ethan again right there in that chase position in that pocket.
It's going to be a crazy battle here in the top 32. The second half is ready to get underway. Ethan Minnema now in the lead. Zach Sullivan ready to chase him down. Only one can advance to the top 16. Initiating in, Ethan with a good initiation. Zach right there with him. Very high up goes Ethan and kicks up some dirt out of outer zone 2. Zach right along the door as they transition through outer zone 3 into 4. Now into outer zone 5. Zach giving him no breathing room whatsoever in that lead position as they transition the final time into the final outer zone. Zach getting it on the wheel, on the door. And it's a mimic of almost the first battle.
Oh my goodness. Let's take another look. This time at the second half of their one more time battle. Zach doing a better job in that chase position through that initiation and up to outside zone 2, while we see Ethan drop a bit of tire, pull a little bit of angle there out before setting himself up for this power alley section. We see Zach right along that bumper, but does end up on a little bit tighter line after that transition. And then here we see Ethan go along that yellow line, stays with it pretty good, but maybe not quite as good as Zach. And man, another Extremely tough one for the judges to call here. Zach on the left, Ethan on the right, or could we see him go one more time again?
Well, the people love battles. I love battles. It's going to be a close one for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we saw that big mistake from Ethan in his chase position through that initiation. Really just diving through a super inside line and ends up catching up with Zach. But then once he does catch up to Zach, he does an extremely good job in that chase position. But if we look at Zach's lead, I mean, it is quite literally near perfect. And then we flip it around. Ethan has a couple of mistakes here and there in his lead, but not egregious mistakes. A little tire drop in outside zone 2, and then could have been a little deeper for that last and final outside zone. While Zach didn't maybe apply quite the same amount of pressure that Ethan did throughout the entirety of that course, but Zach didn't really have any big mistakes. He had that small one there through that second transition, ended up on just a little bit tighter of a line, and maybe not quite where he needed to be, but does that equal Ethan's mistake in his chase through that initiation? And again, a tough one to call between the judges. Judges really taking their time, and I would too. This is one of those moments where I do not wish to be a judge.
Nope, that's why we're here in the commentary booth.
Yeah. We assess, we make our comments.
Yep. But doing that job, that is
not my responsibility.
Almost went full Family Feud there. Like, good answer, good answer. I can see some cars warming up some tires in the pits. Maybe?
And look at there. So Matt chooses Zach O'Sullivan to take the win, but Chris and Ed choose one more time, and we're going to line them up again.
It's not even the finals.
Cut it out, dude. Okay?
Ethan. Now to remind the wonderful viewers why this battle is so crazy is Ethan, if we went by regular rules, I don't even think he would have qualified for today. And then we get into the last 16. He ends up getting his spot through the last 16, and now he's here on a second one more time against last year's VDC champion, Zach O'Sullivan. Absolutely wild, Ethan. Just coming out here like, yep, I want to win today.
Absolutely. He is certainly going after it today here against Zach O'Sullivan.
So deja vu, I've just been in this place before. Here is Zach O'Sullivan in the lead position, and chasing him down for the third time is Ethan Minnema in the S15 in that chase lane. The lights go on, and the second one more time battle is underway. Initiating in is Zach O'Sullivan. Right with him is Ethan Minnema. They are wheel to wheel as door to door as they come through outer zone 2. A little waiver there from the chase as they come into outer zone 3. He's trying to pick his moment to make that transition happen so he can stay on the door of Zach O'Sullivan. They come through the second to last outer zone. Now for the hardest outside zone. And look at that, wheel to wheel, door to door. Barely any mistakes.
Yeah, another good start to this battle. We'll take another look, and there is a point of emphasis here. We see Zach initiate in. Ethan's right there in that pocket, applying that pressure. Zach doing a good job filling that outside zone too as they work their way down. We see that small bobble, but coming into this first transition, we look at Chase there. It takes him quite a minute there, maybe even straight for a second. But it, continues on with that proximity as well. Nice and smooth into this last and final outside zone. No contact whatsoever, and across that finish line. And we flip them around once again.
Well, back at the start line, ready to duke it out for the second half of their second one more time battle. Ethan Minnema now leads. Zach O'Sullivan gets to chase him down. It is all or nothing. Only one advance is initiating in. On the door is Zach O'Sullivan, but maybe missing out on that first inside zone or outside zone through outer zone 2 through that first inside clip. Zach is on the attack as he is not giving Ethan any breathing room on these transitions or while they're accelerating into the final outside zone now. Zach is on the door. He's on the wheel. And they finish out the second half of this one more time battle.
God, this is never going to end. Here we go with the second half here on the replay. Ethan out front initiating in. Zach playing it smart there. Right along the door with him through outside zone 2. Right in that pocket as they work around that inside clip. First transition right along that bumper is Zach O'Sullivan. And again there through that transition, Zach a little bit on the inside line after that second transition. There they go, settling in for the last and final outside zone. Ethan dialed in, but Zach right along that door. Man, we go to our judges again with these two. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Ethan Minnema on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Oh, and it does. We have a decision here. Zach O'Sullivan does get the win over Ethan Minnema. Finally, between these two, we have a winner. And a well-deserved one. Either way it went, I think either one could have gotten the win today, for sure.
Wow. I mean, Ethan, listen, Ethan. Don't be discouraged, because that was a final fight. That was a spectacular battle. Keep up the practice. Come back at the next round. We want to see you. That was amazing. Congratulations to Zach for advancing on to the top 16, but another big congratulations to Ethan for putting up such a great fight against last year's VDC champion.
Yeah, now, absolutely. It does sound like it came down to just that transition in the chase, being caught up and sort of stuck in it and, driving straight for a second. But here we go. Next battle.
Next battle, after they have been waiting patiently, DeJuan Reeves in the Corvette, leading it out for this top 32 battle to see who will go see Zach O'Sullivan. Chasing him down is, where am I? Daniel Andreev. They come through outer zone 2. Daniel really putting that BMW on the door of that Corvette as they come through outer zone 4. Now to transition to outer zone 6. Daniel giving him no room to breathe. A little waiver there into that last outside zone, but Daniel keeping it glued to the door of that Corvette.
Yeah, nicely done. It's hard to follow up that act, but they do a good job here. Reeves initiating in, maybe a little bit late, but Daniel doing a good job in that chase position. Stay with him anyway. Maybe giving him a little push there through that inside clip as he backs off a little bit for that transition right along that bumper as they continue on through this power alley section of the course. Good transition there as well. Arjan on a good lead line, almost going backwards there into that last and final outside zone, but keeps this momentum up, and there they go across that finish line door to door.
Well, back around to the start gate they are. Daniel Andreev now in that lead position. Dijon Reeves ready to chase him down. Down the straight they come, initiating in the second half of this top 32 battle is underway. On the door goes Dijon Reeves to Daniel as they come through that inside clip to outer zone 3. Now the transition to outer zone 4. Dijon doing a great job keeping that pressure up, almost hitting the rear bumper, but making it work. Absolutely stellar driving by both of these guys here today as they cross that line wheel to wheel.
Yeah, well done by both of these drivers. Daniel out front here on the replay. Dijon giving chase in that Corvette. Initiating in. Looking good on a really nice line is Daniel. Dijon right there in that pocket, in that chase position, staying with him. Smooth transition, working out to the next outside zone. And maybe biting off a little bit of that rear bumper there through that transition. Looked like a small little hiccup there through the transition from that lead car. But there they go across that finish line, door to door. And we go to our judges for these two. Dijon on the left, Daniel on the right. We'll see the winner in top 16. There we go. It looks like we have a decision, and we do. We have another one more time. We're going to line them back up.
Amazing. Oh, this is what I was hoping out of this course. And, you know, when I said it, it's hard to hide anything. You got to drive at 100% the entire time you're on this track. You cannot make a mistake. If you do, the judges will see it, and then you're not advancing. But with this, the drivers are so on point that we get these one more time battles, and it's absolutely amazing to see them.
Absolutely. Keeping things going here. And we line them up again. I believe that's our fourth. So we had two in last 16. And then we had our one just now, and now another one.
Well, we had two with Zach, and then now this one. So we're getting up there today for one more times. So here we go. One more time battle for the top 32. Who will go see Zach O'Sullivan in the top 16? Dijon Reeves gets out of the gate clean and initiates. Daniel Andreev right there with them as they come through that outside zone 1 into outer zone 2. Almost on the door is Daniel as they come through that inside clip to outer zone 3, leaving a bit of room there for that transition. Looking good so far out front, though, for our lead driver. The chase, keeping it where it needs to be kept, getting on that door, getting on the wheel. And look at that, amazing driving from both of these guys.
Yeah, another good start here to the one more time battle. Dijon out front. Daniel giving chase. Good initiation this time from Dijon on time. Nicely done all the way up to outside zone 2. Could have been on that white line, but pretty deep nonetheless as they continue on. Daniel right there along that bumper, reels him back in, gets into that pocket of that Corvette. And we see Daniel back off in a little bit of an odd way before that second transition, but keeps things going into the last and final outside zone. Nicely done by both of those drivers.
Well, back around for the second half of their battle. Let's see how much more intense it can get. I don't know if my heart can take it. Here we go. Daniel Andreev out front, being chased down by Dijon Reeves. Initiating in. Dijon on the attack off of that initiation right along the door through outer zone 1 and 2. Dijon wants this win. Daniel out front doing a good job in through outer zone 3. They make the transition and Dijon gave no room whatsoever. What am I watching? Dijon is just all over Daniel Andreev, but that's what I was worried about. A bit of contact there coming over the bump.
Oh my gosh. Now, we won't be able to hear it in the replay, unfortunately, but it does sound like Daniel takes a second to really get back into throttle. But look at that initiation in that chase position, staying with Daniel out front. Maybe the initiation of the day as far as chase goes. And then right there, I'm not sure how he didn't hit him there. We see a small correction from Daniel out in front, dropping a tire there, as well as the outside zone before that. We see him pick up throttle. Yeah, that's a tough one. And across that finish line they go. We'll let those judges take their time with that one, with that little bit of contact there in that last and final outside zone. But just an insane battle once again here in the top 32. Yeah, I thought I saw that as well, Vert, but I'm not sure if there was any contact. It really kind of seemed like a correction from Daniel, pulling some angle out. He ends up wide for the next outside zone, and then just a little bit late on that next transition, dropping a little bit of tire. And man, we have a split decision, almost another one more time. Dijon, though, gets the win, moving on against Daniel. And it really has to be from the insane chase run.
I'm literally standing right now. This is... What is this round created? 0-0, what have you done? Absolutely wild. We still have 2 more sets of battles to go. These are our last of the top 32, and you're seeing that right on your screen. That is Tikhon Pleski back with us, ready to lay it all down, and beside him, Ryan Litteral in the Sim Magic S15. Tikhon Pleski in that D-Max S14 in the lead position. Initiating in is Tikhon. He looked fantastic during qualifying, but Ryan Litteral has been doing a lot of training and a lot of practice, and he's doing a good job so far through Outer Zone 1 and 2, keeping a good proximity to the robot that is Tikhon, and just making sure to put the car there and get it there. And Tikhon not wavering a place out of line in the lead lane. A little bit of contact there from Ryan Litteral going into that last outer zone. But wow, great battle.
Nicely done by the both of them. Tikhon out front, leading Ryan Litteral through the course. Nice and smooth on initiation. Ryan reels him in quickly as Tikhon works up to the top of that bank. Down across that inside clip as they continue on. Ryan right there with him in the pocket. Sacrificing a little bit, and there, come flying in. Has to make a small correction in that chase position. Tikhon doing good job out front. But here, we got some contact. And yeah, I'm not going to lie, Tikhon takes a bit of a while to pick up throttle in that last and final outside zone.
Well, now it's time for Ryan Litteral to see what he can do out front when you have the robot Tikhon Pleski on your door for an entire track. Initiating in. Good job from Ryan Litteral out front. Good angle and arc towards outer zone 2. And there is Tikhon Pleski right on the door. Leaves quite a bit of room here through outer zone 3, but quickly catches and gets back on the door of Ryan Litteral as they come through to the next transition to outer zone 6 and 7. And this is an epic battle between these two. Ryan going a little wide, having to slow her down quite a bit, but it doesn't phase Tikhon in that chase position.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Ryan out front and doing a really good job here. Initiating in, staying smooth on his angle here, up to outside zone 2 and then back down to the inside clip. He's locked in there. Tikhon getting left behind a little bit there in that chase position, but then ends up right along the bumper through that transition. They continue on. Ryan on a good line here. Good transition here. Tons of angle, but right here he holds up to the angle a little long, which makes that last and final transition just a little late. And I think that might have been what sent him off just a little bit wide for that last and final. outside zone. A tough one to call here between these two, though. Tikhon on the left, Ryan Litteral on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And it looks like we have a decision. We do. Ryan Litteral is going to get the win. Now, Matt calls for it one more time, but Chris and Ed both choose Ryan Litteral to get the win, move on into the top 16. Yeah, and it is going to come down to mostly that contact where we saw Ryan. He did give him a little boot from that chase position, but it was Tikhon that took too long to pick up that throttle and continue moving through that outside zone, that last and final one. Again, that contact that we saw in the first half of the battle with Ryan in that chase position.
Wow. So
yeah,
here we
Ryan
are.
Litteral just took down Tikhon Pleski.
Well, whatever you've been doing, Ryan, it works.
Yeah, keep it up.
It's working.
Absolutely.
Keep it up.
And
you've been doing great.
Yeah.
But we have our final battle here of the top 32 of round 3, the Virtual Drift Championship here at the Pascani MotorPark. And this is Lazam Azau out front in the S14 being chased by Artem Makushenko in that Audi as they come through outer zone 3 into 4, now down towards 5. Artem's been putting on all sorts of pressure onto Lazam here, trying to keep it as close to Lazam as he can. Throwing big angle, trying to keep up on that door. And an overall great battle once again between these two.
Let's take another look at it here. Last and final one of the top 32. Lazam out front, Artem giving chase. Good initiation by both. Artem sacrificing a little bit of line to reel him back in. Really easy to do here on this big giant turn. And we see Artem fall out of angle quite a bit there in that chase position through that inside clip, maybe straightening up and getting back into drift there. We see him on an inside line, but Lazam is also on a wide line. Drop some tire, but good job into the last and final outside zone and across the finish line.
Well, back around and ready to finish out the top 32. Who will go on to see Ryan Litteral in the top 16? The lights are on. Artem Makushenko out front. Lazam is out, chasing him down, lighting those tires up all the way down the straight, initiating in, dropping a bit of tire off inside one, or outside one, was Makushenko. But look at the pressure from Lazam all over the door of that Audi. Transitioning now to outer zone 4. Still no breathing room that Lazam is leaving as they transition almost on the bumper through the final few. Oh, Lazam! Lazam into the side of Artem.
Yeah,
you gotta look at that on the replay.
Yeah, we certainly are. Here we go. Artem out front, initiating in almost late. It's really close there. They work their way out to outside zone 2. We see some wavering out front from Artem as they work down to the inside clip. Artem's a bit wide for it, grabs the next outside zone. That one as well. Lazam doing a good job in that chase position, applying some pressure and where he needs to be. Good transition here. Grabs that zone there. Yeah, that's another tough one. He does get hit through and inside of that decel zone. We're actually going to let it play again here. So the decel zone ends right along where there's hash marks for the last and final outside zone, and just after they end, drivers should be back on throttle by then, but it looks like Artem does get hit before then. But is he dropping too much speed to even make it through that last and final zone? It's a tough one here, and a lot of speed drop, but I'm not sure if that's too much speed or not. No, it is not. We already have a decision. Artem gets the win over Lazam. An unfortunate one to see some contact there, finishing that run, but that's going to send Artem into the top 16.
Well, you would think you were in the finals with how crazy this top 32 has been, but I can say that it's finally over, and we now have a top 16 bracket.
Yeah, we sure do. We'll take a look at the top 32 bracket and how it played out. Artem Chulkov and Brandon Gardner will face off first. Stanislav and Tarasov, Oliver Effinger, William Holloway and Alan Hines, Alexander Element and Danielis Parangauskas will be up next in the top 16. But we'll take a very small short break, hear from our wonderful sponsors, and we'll be back with the top 16. Right, we are back. again with more main event coverage here for round 3, Pascani MotorPark, again made by Double Zero. You can find it on the race department, not with our outside zones and inside clips though. That will be coming in just a few days, maybe even tomorrow. We'll have to see a couple things that needed to be sorted out before public release, but it's been a fun track so far, fun layout indeed. Crazy one more time battles so far, and we'll take a look at our top 16 for today. Artem Chulkov and Brandon Gardner will be up next. Stanislav Tarasov and Oliver Effinger, William Holloway and Alan Hines, and Alexander Element and Danielis Parangauskas to start things out for us here in the top 16. Looks like our drivers are at the line ready to go, just waiting on those last little bit of practice runs to finish up before we turn the lights on and send them off for the first top 16 battle of the day.
Well, after a super exciting top 32, we finally made it into the top 16. In the lead position is Artem Chulkov, our #1 qualifier, being chased down by Brandon Gardner in that Z as they come through outside zone number 2 down towards outside zone 3. Brandon doing a good job at keeping that proximity as they go through outside zone number 4. Looking good so far from that chase. Artem doing a great job out front, putting that car exactly where it needs to be. Brandon on the attack though, maybe hitting Artem there, sending him offline and finishing out the run.
Yeah, definitely making some contact there as we see some sparks fly between those two. Artem Chulkov out front and his M2 being chased down by the all-new Z of Brandon Gardner, reeling him in. Doing a nice job through turn 1 down to the inside clip. Nicely done out front in that lead position. Nice and smooth on that transition as well. They continue on. Brandon Gardner right there in the fight though through that transition. Doing a nice job here coming into the last and final outside zone. Yeah, coming in just a little bit too hot is Brandon Gardner. We'll flip him around.
We sure will. Already back at the starting line is Brandon Gardner, now in that lead lane. And in the chase, Artem's ready to go to start the second half of this top 16 battle. Down the straight they come. Brandon initiates in. Artem right there with them as they come through outer zone 1 all the way up to outer zone 2. And look at Artem right on the door of Brandon Gardner, not leaving him any breathing room as they transition through outer zone 4 down to 5. Right along the bumper, Artem's making these transitions happen and not making any contact. Wide goes Brandon Gardner into that final outside zone, but gets through it clean this time.
Yeah, let's take another look at the second half of this top 16 battle here between these two. Brandon Gardner in that lead position, doing a good job working out to outside zone 2, but look at there, Artem almost pushing him through the course as they continue on. Next outside zone, nicely filled with Artem in that chase position, cuts the line just a little bit over the rumble strip, but it is allowed by that chase position as they continue on. Last and final transition, Brandon goes just a little bit wide, dropping on the outside of that yellow line, and there they go across the finish line. We go to our judges, Artem on the left, Brandon on the right. Winner will move on into the top 8. And it looks like we do have a decision, and it is going to be a unanimous one. Artem Chulkov gets the win over Brandon Gardner. Really, I think coming down to that contact in that last and final outside zone, the first half of that battle. But we'll see Artem in the top 8.
We sure will see Artem in the top 8, and if my eyes don't deceive me, we might see Oliver Effinger in the top 8.
Yeah, I am not seeing a Stanislav on the server. Judges are gonna wait and see if they hear something from him before we possibly send Oliver Effinger for his bye run.
That's something that does not happen often here in the top 16.
Yeah, especially all the way into the top 16. Absolutely. We'll turn down the music there for Oliver and let him take his bye run.
Whoa now, Oliver. Well, there it is. There's Oliver's bye run. Moving on to see Artem Chulkov in the top 8. We move on to our next battle now. Alan Hines in the lead position up against William Holloway in the FD RX-7 in that chase lane. William Holloway getting in from the last 16 battles earlier today, so it has been a hard fight for him. But here we go with their battle, initiating in. Looking good so far as they come through outer zone 2 down towards inside clip 1. Out to outer zone 3. William Holloway doing a good job at keeping a good proximity. Not quite on the door, but not too far away either. Alan Hines is very speedy through this section of the course. He slows down the car to get through this final outer zone, and that's where William was able to get up and get right on the door of Alan Hines.
Yeah, let's take a second look at it here. Alan out front, initiating in nicely. Big swing into the first outside zone, works out to the second outside zone with William right there along the door through that inside clip. Does fall back just a little bit there. Quite the gap through that transition compared to what we've been seeing here in the competition so far. Same with that transition as well, really falling back the further they work through this course. And there they go across that finish line.
Now here we go with the second half of this top 16 battle. William Holloway will lead it out. Alan Hines will chase him down. The light goes on and the second half is underway. Down the straight they come. Initiating in. Looking good through outer zone 1. Alan Hines already on the attack though. William Holloway doing a good job through outer zone 1 and 2. But Alan Hines all over the door of William Holloway as they come through outer zone 3. Dropping some tire from the lead and the chase as they go through outer zone 5 and make the transition work through 6 and 7. One last transition to go. William Holloway not as deep as he could be, but wakes his way out there. Alan Hines takes advantage and gets back on the door before the finish.
Yeah, we'll take a second look at it here as we look on the replay. William really snapping to angle in a very particular part of the course, but doing a good job here for turn 1, filling outside zone 2, works down to that inside clip. Alan staying in that pocket right along that bumper through that first transition, staying with William. And here we see a big snap and too much angle, and William has to make a big correction on the foot brake there to get the car out to that zone, and that's really awkward to deal with in that chase position. As a chase driver, I think I'd rather just want the lead car to stick to the line that they've committed to, rather than make big massive corrections there to get themselves back on to that line. But we'll leave it up to the judges. William Holloway on the left, Alan Hines on the right. And there we go, quick decision from those judges. Alan Hines gets the win over William Holloway, and we'll see him in the top 8. A good fight from William Holloway today.
Absolutely stunning job from William there today, and great job making it all the way to the top 16. We will see you in round 4, but now we have the last of the right-hand or left-hand side of the bracket for the top 16 battles. We have Alexander Element in the Ferrari in that lead lane, qualifying 5th today, making his way to the top 32 to get here. And then in the chase position, qualifying 12th, Danielis, ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and this top 16 battle is underway. Down the straight they come, initiating in. Looking good from Alexander Element. Danielis trying to keep up with him. Had to adjust some angle there, going towards outer zone 2, but readjusts and tries to stick with the speed of that Ferrari. Not quite on in the pocket just yet, but not falling too far behind, having to cut the angle big time there to stick with Alexander Element as they come through the final outer zone now, door to door, wheel to wheel across the line.
Yeah, fun half to this battle here as we take another look. Alexander Element out front, Danielis giving chase, and a big snap initiation from Alexander Element. He does have to pull a little bit of angle out, work out to the outside zone too, and there we see Danielis struggling to keep up in that chase position, sacrificing some line and angle, finally gets back into the fight, but there you see the mistake again in that chase position, and then back onto the door, into the pocket for this last and final outside zone. Hardest one on the course, and he makes it work.
Well, now we get to see the second half of this battle. Danilius Parangauskas in that lead position. And then Alexander Element ready to chase him down for the second half of this top 16 battle. Off they go. Initiating in is Danilius, looking good off the initiation, but Alexander Element on the attack, trying to just stay right on that door through outer zone 2 and keep that proximity through that inside clip in outer zone 3, leaving almost no room on that transition through outer zone 4. Now off of 5 down to 6. Alexander Element on the attack, but a good lead drive here from Danilius out front. But Alexander Element all over the door of Danilius.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Second half of the replay up on the screen now. Danielis leading Alexander Element through that course. There they go, through turn 1. Couple of bobbles here and there from Danielis out front. He works down to that inside clip, gets around it nicely. Alexander Element right there along that bumper through that first transition and stays with him. Very nice transition to continue on as well by both of them. Last and final one, picking up throttle on time. It's the final outside zone, and there they go across that finish line, and we go to our judges. Alexander Element on the left. Not sure why Alan Hines' picture is showing up, but we'll figure that out. And Danielis on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8, and we've got a decision already. Alexander Element moves on, and we'll see him in the top 8. And that's going to do it for the left-hand side of the top 16 bracket. Artem Chulkov and Oliver Effinger move on. They'll battle each other in the top 8, and Alan Hines and Alexander Element will also battle each other in the top 8, moving on through that top 16. Next up, though, Darius Ostreika and Cameron Mustard, Reese Tatterson and Ernestes Jakubelis, Zachary Sullivan and Dijon Reeves, Ryan Litteral and Artem Makashenko to battle it out next here in the top 16. Alright, should be last call from those judges. And Darius Ostreika, our number 2 qualifier, and Cameron Mustard, our 15th qualifier, will battle it out.
Battle it out indeed as they are at the line. Darius Ostreika in the BMW in that lead position, ready to go. Alongside him in that chase lane, Cameron Mustard in that R32, ready to maybe advance on. Both these guys want to go to the next round of competition, but there's only one spot and two of them. The lights go on and off they go for the first half of this top 16 battle. Darius initiates in, so does Cameron Mustard, getting right close to him off that initiation through outer zone 1 and 2, keeping it in that pocket, keeping a good distance. They come down towards outside zone 3. Good transition along the bumper. Taking a bit more inside line though to keep that proximity and maybe get a little bit closer. And looking good so far. Darius looking great out front, doing a great lead run here. A little tap there from Cameron right at the end.
Yeah, not a bad way to start things out for them both. Darius Ostreika out front, Cameron Mustard giving chase. Slow to rotate from Darius Ostreika through that initiation, but gets all the way up to that outside zone 2, working down to that inside clip. Near perfect there. Cameron right along the bumper through that first transition, but does end up on a tighter line. Has to use some of that rumble strip. There again, right along the bumper, almost grabbing a piece of it. And there, into that last and final outside zone. And there they go, across that finish line together.
Well, back around at the start gate, our drivers are back and ready for the second half of their battle. Cameron Mustard in the R32 in the lead now. Darius Ostreika ready to chase him down in his BMWs. They come down the start straight and initiate into outer zone 1. And it looks good so far. Darius, though, on the attack, really getting close to the door through outer zone 2 in that first inside clip down to outer zone 3. Darius trying to keep as much pressure on Cameron as possible. Cameron doing a good job out front here so far, though. Could fill the zones a little deeper, but doesn't shake up Darius in that chase, who has not left the door of Cameron this entire run.
Yeah, nicely done from Darius Ostreika in that chase position. But Cameron Mustard doing a good job out front as well. As you pointed out, though, needed to be maybe a little bit deeper on some of these zones. Works out to outside zone 2, but there could have been deeper even after making some little corrections to try and get that car out there. A little bit shallow there as well. Nicely done for the inside clip, and then shallow again on that outside zone. Does fill that one all the way to the max. There, last and final transition, really smooth into this last and final outside zone from Cameron Mustard, and there they go across that finish line with Darius right along that door. And we go to our judges. Darius on the left, Cameron on the right. Good battle between these two, nice and smooth. And there it is, quick decision. Darius Ostreika moves along ahead of Cameron Mustard. I think coming down to really that mistake through the first transition, and Cameron really diving across that second inside clip.
Yeah, I very much agree with that as well. But like I said, it's the very small things that matter. But we have our next top 16 battle at the line ready to go. Reese Tatterson in the 370 Hines EZ in that lead position, being chased down by Ernestus Jakubelis in the S14. They get through the start gate clean and initiate through outer zone 1. Ernestus starts to push up to the door through outer zone 2 onto Reese Tatterson. They come through that inside clip, and Ernestus is doing a good job in that chase here, but Reese even better job out front, putting the car exactly where it needs to go. But Ernestus isn't letting him breathe, barely leaving room for these transitions, keeping it as close to the door of Reese Tatterson as absolutely possible.
Yeah, nicely done by both of these here in the first half of their top 16 battle. Reese out front, Ernestus giving chase. Good initiation in to start the course from Reese Tatterson, getting ahead just a little bit. Could have been maybe a little deeper there on outside zone 2, but Ernestus applying some pressure in that chase position, working through into the power alley section of this course, filling that zone. Nicely done on the transition, really by both of them. Ernestus falling back just a little bit and then reels him back in for the last and final outside zone and applying some pressure across that finish line.
Well, Well, now back at the start gate, Ernestus in the lead lane, Reese Tatterson in the chase, ready for the second half of their one more time battle to see who will go face Darius Ostreika in that top 8. The lights go on and off they go, down the straight and initiating in. Ernestus looking good out front, but Reese Tatterson all over the door since outer zone 1 and 2, keeping it right to the maximum as they come through outer zone 3. Ernestus starts to pull away a bit as Reese backed off a little too much for the transition, but then really surges forward off that next transition to try and keep that proximity from going away, but hitting Ernestus in the T-cell zone. And oh, to be a judge today.
Yeah, it's a tough one coming into that last and final outside zone, as we've seen quite a bit of contact between these drivers. Ernestus out front leading Reese through the course. Nicely done for outside zone 2. You see Reese right there in that chase position, right into the pocket, but gets left behind a little bit through outside zone 3. Nicely done by Ernestus for outside zone 4 and 5, as well as 6. Reese back into the fight there, right along the bumper, and then coming in just a little hot, giving Ernestus a tap. It's going to be a tough one. Judges might take their time here, as that contact into the last and final outside zone, I believe, will determine the winner here and who will move on into the top 8. And there we go. We have a decision, and it's a unanimous one. Ernestus gets the win over Reese Tatterson. It really is. It's just going to come down to that contact into the last and final outside zone.
Well, a good job there from Ernestus. Moves on to see Darius Ostreika in the next round of competition. But next up is going to be a fun battle. We have Zach O'Sullivan in the Sim Magic S14 and Dejan Reeves in that Corvette. And Dejan has been putting on a show and fought very hard to be here in the top 16, but so did Zach O'Sullivan. And I don't think any of these guys are going to back down easy. So we'll wait to see their battle as it gets underway here very shortly. The lights go on, and this battle is underway. Zach O'Sullivan out front, Dejan Reeves chasing him down, initiating in is Zach O'Sullivan. Dejan with him though through outer zone 1, starting to close that gap through outer zone 2. And a great lead run so far. Cutting that inside line a bit was Dejan Reeves, trying to stick with the speed of Zach O'Sullivan as they come through outer zone 5. Leaving no room on that transition though was Dejan in that chase, making it look easy out there as they come through the final outer zone, side by side and wheel to wheel.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it. I'm not sure anyone is doing that last and final outside zone the way Zach is doing it so perfectly. Could have been a little bit deeper there in outside zone 1, but works out to outside zone 2 and all the way out there as they continue on. And look at Dejan applying the pressure there along the bumper of Zach O'Sullivan, especially here, just buried that bumper into the rear of that S14. They continue on. Nicely done from Zach for the last and final outside zone, just riding that yellow line, but Dejan right there in that chase position.
Well, back around at the start gate, we'll see how the second half of this top 16 battle goes and who will advance on. Will it be Reeves in the lead? Will it be Zach O'Sullivan in the chase? They leave the start gate and down the straight they come, initiating into outer zone 1. Zach O'Sullivan on the attack through outer zone 2. Right along the door as they come into outer zone 3, leaving a little bit of room there for the transition, but quickly regaining that proximity. Reeves really just throwing the caution to the wind and putting that pedal to the metal to try and just keep Zach at somewhat at a distance. But what an absolute battle between these two.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Dijon going after it in that lead position. Good initiation. Working his way up to outside zone 2. Could have been a little bit higher. Zach right there in that chase, though, applying some pressure. Staying with Dijon as he comes up a little bit short on outside zone 3 and is a little slow to transition for that very first one, but then right to angle for the second one. Zach falling back a little bit and then reels him back in. Very similar to what Dijon did in his chase position, but Dijon just not quite as deep in the last and final outside zone. It's hard to really compare anyone to what Zach is doing in that last and final outside zone, just riding that yellow line all the way around. But we'll go to the judges. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Dijon on the right. Or will we see these two go one more time and see Zach in another one more time situation?
Well, and Dijon in a one more time situation.
Yeah, he sure did. Oh, and it looks like we have a decision. Dijon Reeves gets the win over Zach O'Sullivan and moves on into the top 8. Are you okay?
Wow! Wow. Absolute great driving from Dijon Reeves. Takes out Zach O'Sullivan in the top 16. Absolutely crazy. I told you this round, it has just brought out the craziness in people. They all want it today. Our final battle of the top 16 awaits. Artem Makashenko in the lead position in that blue and white Audi. Then in the Sim Magic S15, Ryan Litteral in the chase position. The light goes on and off they go to start the first part of this two-part battle for the final spot in the top 8. Initiating in, Ryan Litteral already on the attack off of outer zone 1 as they climb up to outer zone 2. Ryan dropping back a little bit but regaining that proximity as they come into outer zone 3, making the transition for outer zone 4 and 5. Ryan on the attack here, keeping a good proximity, but Artem out front doing a good job leading them around, as maybe a little unsettled over the bump was Ryan as they cross that line with a little bit of contact.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here on the replay. Artem Makashenko out front, and Ryan Litteral giving chase, and Ryan doing a good job off that initiation to stay right there with Artem as they work up to the top of the bank. Didn't quite fill that zone. Is Artem out front? They work down to outside zone 3, another one that Artem ends up a little bit shallow on, but the next two, he does a pretty good job. That one as well as they continue on. And here we see Artem pick up throttle on time work down, does have to make quite the correction there off the bump, but so does Ryan in that chase. Real scrappy there coming into that last and final outside zone.
Well, let's see if it gets cleaned up with them switched around. Ryan Litteral now in the lead lane, ready for the second half of the battle. Artem Makshenko ready to chase him down. The second half of this top 16 battle is underway, and our final top 16 battle of the day initiating in is Ryan Litteral. Artem Makshenko right there with him, though, as they come through outer zone 2. Right along the door, Artem is to Ryan Litteral. They come through outer zone 4, make that transition down to 5. Not leaving a lot of breathing room is Artem, but starting to pull away a bit was Ryan Litteral as they both come over the bump. That's going to be a hard one. Aside from the contact in the last one, both those runs look very similar.
Yeah, they sure did. Here we go with that replay. Ryan out front. Big swing initiation. Artem doing a good job in that chase position, though. Ryan much deeper for outside zone 2. Tighter to that inside clip as well. On a really good line into 3. As they continue on, small little correction from Ryan Litteral out front as they make that transition. Artem falling back just a little bit there as they work into the last and final outside zone. Artem trying to reel him back in, and there they go across that finish line. We go to our judges. Ryan Litteral on the left, Artem on the right. Winner will move on into the top 8. Last and final top 16 battle here for round 3. Oh, and we have a split decision. Ryan Litteral is going to get the win over Artem Makshenko. Chris and Matt choose Ryan Litteral. Ed chooses a one more time, but Ryan is going to get that win. Yeah, that's what I thought too. It was hard to tell in the replay, especially with without the sound. But it comes down to the first half of that battle and that contact. The way the judges saw it is Artem came in, he decelled, he went back on throttle, and then he really kind of decelled again with the throttle input as well as a lot of left foot brake coming down off of that little drop off. But we'll take a look at our bracket. Artem Chulkov and Oliver Effinger to face off next. Alan Hines and Alexander Element, Darius Ostreika and Ernestas Jakubelis, Dajan Reeves and Ryan Litteral to face off in the top 8.
Well, looks like we have our top 8 battle at the line, ready to go. Qualifying first today and making his way to the top 8 and hoping to still advance in that lead position is Artem Chulkov in the BMW. Qualifying 24th today, Oliver Effinger in that Toyota Supra, ready to throw down as they get out of the gate nice and clean down the straightaway and initiate. And Artem with a good initiation, but Oliver right there with them as they come through outer zone 2. Dropping a bit of tire was Artem through outer zone 2 as he made his way down to inside 1. Now transitioning through 4 and 5. Oliver keeping that pressure on to Artem, keeping it there in the pocket. making sure he can't make a mistake that Oliver can't keep advantage of as they come through that line side by side.
A clean way to start out the top 8 as we take another look here on the replay. Artem Chulkov out front in that new M2 being chased down by that Mark IV Supra of Oliver Effinger and doing a good job to get out there to the top of the track, but dropping a little bit of tire is Artem out front in that lead position, grabbing that next outside zone. But look at there, Oliver right along the bumper through that first transition, doing a good job on the second one as well, ends up on the same line with him. Last and final transition, picking up throttle is Artem out front on time, and there they go across that finish line.
Well, now back around at the start gate, they're ready to start the second half of this top 8 battle. Oliver Effinger will now lead, Artem Chulkov will chase, and we'll see who moves on to the top 4, the final 4, later today. Down the straight they come. Oliver Effinger initiates in, right with them is Artem, though, as they come up through outer zone 2. Little higher was Artem through outer zone 2 while still maintaining that proximity to Oliver Effinger as they transition through 4 and 5, but cutting a lot of the course was Artem in that chase position. Artem falling 2 tires off there at outside zone 6. Wow. That battle got a little messy there.
It did. We'll take another look at it here. Oliver Effinger out front in that Supra. Artem giving chase. Initiating in. Very nicely done from Oliver, but he ends up quite shallow for outside zone 2. Artem a little bit higher. Stays with him, though, as they come down off that bank turn. Continuing on. Filling these zones, and there, this is the first time I think it's happened today in that chase position, going off there, and it's actually something that's really easy to do. I'm surprised we haven't seen it before until now, but we go to our judges. Artem on the left, Oliver on the right. Winner will move on into the final 4. And it looks like we have a decision. It's a split when Chris and Matt both choose Artem Chulkov, but Ed chooses it one more time. Artem Chulkov will move on into the final 4.
Well, a great drive there from Artem, making his way into that final 4. Can he top qualifying and round 3 here today? Well, still many more battles to come to make that decision or that question a possibility. As our next battle pulls up to the line, Alexander Element in the Ferrari in the lead lane, being chased down for this first half of the battle of the top 8 by Alan Hines in the S15. The light goes on and this battle is underway. Who will go against Artem in the next round of competition? Initiating in is Alexander Element, but Alan Hines trying to stick there with him, but losing a lot of ground out of outside zone number 2. Going to be interesting to see how the rest of this playing out, as Alan Hines just seems he can't keep up with the speed of that Ferrari. Starting to catch up now as they come to the very final outside zone. And now Alan's able to get that proximity in, but very weird to see him so far behind.
Yeah, we'll take another look at it here on the replay. Now, Alexander Element isn't quite on the correct line for turn 1. He initiates in, snaps the angle pretty good, but we see him work up to the outside a little early there as we see him drive off those skid marks. And it is a tough one to follow, going through, all the testing and stuff with the track and looking for little things like that. Not trying to make any excuses for Alan, but that could be the reason why, it led to that. And it takes him, the entire course to try and reel Alexander back in. So Alexander on quite the advantage moving on into the second half of the battle, I think.
Well, we get to find out right now, because back at the start gate for the second half of this battle, Alan Hines moves into that lead lane to lead out for the second half of this battle, while Alexander Element gets ready to chase him down. The lights go on And the second half of this top 8 battle is underway. Who will go to see Artem? Initiating in is Alan Hines, but Alexander Element giving him a touch there on the nose as they come into outer zone 2. But that doesn't misstep Alan Hines at all. Alexander Element is on the attack here, trying to keep that Ferrari as close to Alan Hines as possible as they come through the second to last outer zone, now into the final outer zone, but it might come down to that contact at outer zone 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure, even with the contact, if it's going to be enough to really decide it here. We'll take another look. Alan initiating in, and he's way offline there along the course, while Alexander is technically on the correct line. Alan's super wide outside of all the skid marks that have been just buried into the track today, but they continue on anyway. Alexander still in the fight. Alan back on the correct lines here through the course. Down off the little drop off, and there they go across that finish line with Alexander Element right on the door of Alan Hines. We go to our judges. Alan on the left, Alexander Element on the right. Judges taking their time with this one, making sure they got the right call. We'll make sure we get the right picture for Alexander Element. Oh no, I'm not sure what happened with that one, but a lot of, it wouldn't be a VDC around without some technical difficulty somewhere, right?
You said that, and then your mic did a brr, and I was just like, I'm not going to say it.
It's fine, okay? Which,
got too much
I am
juice.
glad I was able to figure that out. If anyone has a Rode pod mic USB, don't use the USB that it comes with if you are wanting to use it in USB mode. Get yourself a 100-watt 5-amp cord. And wow, so we have a one more time between these two. Chris and Matt both choose a one more time. Ed chooses Alexander Element, so we're going to line them up again and see if they can both really clean up both of their lead runs is what it's coming down to. Both had mistakes in their leads, and Alan drives off into the wall.
That new teleporting barrier.
Yeah, over here in the judges now, and it is the massive gap. If lead driver gets out to outside zone too early, they end up leaving outside zone too a little bit early, and they really drive down that bank and just pick up an insane amount of speed. Alan also makes a very similar mistake in his lead as well, going quite a bit wide. So we're gonna line him back up again. Alexander Element out front.
Yeah, and already with the light on for this one more time battle, Alexander Element leading out the one more time battle. Alan Hines chasing him down. They initiate in. Alan Hines missing out on that outer zone 1 off the initiation, but able to stick with Alexander Element through the rest of those outside zones before making the transition to outer zone 4. Now able to keep that pressure on to Alexander Element as they come down the hill. Alan Hines really trying to do his best here to keep it clean and keep as close as possible to the Ferrari of Alexander Element.
And nicely done by Alexander Element, doing the right thing this time here in that lead position through turn 1. Just locked in on that line. Nice initiation. Allen sacrificing quite a bit of angle there to reel him in and then stay with him as they work their way through turn 1. Allen falling back just a little bit, but not too far off that bumper through that first transition. That one as well. Alexander locked into that line as he makes his last and final transition, picking up throttle and along that yellow line through that final outside zone.
Well, back around at the start gate, they're ready to go again. Alan Hines in that lead position. Alexander Element ready to chase him down to see who will move on to that final 4 battles. Off they go out of the start gate. Alan Hines initiating in, looking good, but Alexander Element on the attack through outside zone 1 and 2, keeping on that bumper and keeping on the door of Alan Hines. They transition through outer zone 3 to outer zone 4 and 5. Not a lot of mistakes being done here, but Alexander Element is just keeping that car exactly where it needs to be and not giving Alan Hines an inch of movement through this course.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here on the replay as we watch Alan Hines make the same mistake here as he initiates in good speed, pulls a little bit of angle out, and you see he's out to the outside really early. He does avoid driving down off that bank at an aggressive angle there and apexing the turn too early, and Alexander does a really good job in that chase position right into the pocket everywhere throughout this course. Does fall back quite a bit for this last and final transition and into the last and final outside zone, but tight battle against these two. Alan Hines on the left, Alexander Element on the right. That's not two Alan Hines. Winner moves on into the final 4. I believe we do have a decision waiting on those sliders to slide either left or right, but the next battle being called to the line. Haven't seen anything slide. Oh, we got a decision, and it is going to be Alexander Element getting the win over Alan Hines. Well fought battle between those two, but Alexander Element comes out on top and moves on into the final 4.
And a great job there from Alexander Element. He will go on to see Artem Chulkov in the final 4. But first, we have Darius Ostreika and Ernestus Jakubelis ready to go for their top 8 battle. Darius in the lead lane in the BMW, Ernestus in the S14 chasing him down, initiating in. Ernestus already on the attack. Look at that wheel to wheel out of outer zone 1 and keeping it there all the way through outer zone 2. How long did Ernestus stay attached to the door of Darius's BMW? They transition through outer zone 4, now into 5. And look at Ernestus giving Darius no breathing room whatsoever. Darius qualifying second here today and doing a good job in the lead, but Ernestus absolutely wants that win.
Yeah, really going after it there in that chase position. We'll take another look at the first half of this battle. Look at there, that initiation. Ernestus super aggressive, and it seems to pay off. He stays with Darius out front as they continue on through that massive turn 1, filling that next outside zone. Smooth transition as they fly through this course here. Right along that bumper is Ernestus. staying on that course, staying on that line, staying in that pocket as they come into this last and final outside zone where Darius loses quite a bit of speed coming into it.
Well, we'll see how the second battle takes place as they are at the line and ready to go. Ernestus now in that lead position, with Darius ready to chase him down for the second half of this top 8 battle. The lights go on and off they go, and underway it is. Down the straight comes Ernestus, initiating in. Ostreika right there with him, not as close as Ernestus was off the initiation, but he gets there by outer zone 2 and puts it on the door of Ernestus at S14. Losing a little bit of ground there as they make the transition from outer zone 3 to 4 and 5. But Ernestus just doing a great job out front here. Darius doing everything he can to keep that BMW glued to the door of that S14 as they cross that finish line.
Man, what a battle between these two. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. Ernestus out front this time, leading Darius through the course. Good initiation. Works all the way out there to outside zone 2. Maybe could have been a little bit deeper. It ended up maybe on the outside a little late is Ernestus as they make that first transition. Darius following him right there through it and through there as well as they work through this course and into the last and final outside zone. Picking up throttle on time right along that yellow line. Leaves it just a little bit and there across the finish line, door to door. We go to our judges. Darius on the left, Ernestus on the right. Winner will move on into the final 4. And look at there, Ernestus gets the win over his teammate Darius Ostreika, and we'll see Ernestus in the final 4.
Well, coming down to the last few battles of the day, but to finish out top 8, we have Dijon Reeves in the Corvette in the lead lane, ready to tangle with Sim Magic S15's Ryan Litteral. In that chase lane, the light goes on and off they go down the straight. Initiating in, Dijon Reeves, the good initiation. Ryan Litteral starting to play catch up a little bit through outer zone 2, but gets onto the door of Dijon Reeves. Maybe a little bit of contact there, just ever so slightly, little contact as they come through outer zone 3 and 4. Ryan Litteral trying to keep that pressure on Dijon Reeves, trying to keep that angle matched as they come into that final outer zone. Get on the wheel, on the door, and finish out side by side.
Yeah, Dijon looking more and more locked into this course and that Corvette as we take another look at the first half of the battle. Gets out to a really good start there. Pulls the gap on Ryan Litteral as Ryan tries to work up that bank and get back into the pocket. And he does a good job doing so as they work their way around that inside clip. First transition. Dijon really smooth through these transitions, really picking up a whole lot of speed there through them as we see Ryan try and sacrifice some angle to stay with that Corvette out front, and then a really good job for the last and final outside zone.
Well, let's see how the second half of this battle shapes up in the last battle here of the top 8. Ryan Litteral now in the lead lane. Dijon Reeves ready to chase him down. The light goes on and underway they go. Down the straight, initiating in is Ryan Litteral. With him is Dijon Reeves, giving him a little bit of room there off the initiation, but closing that door quickly through outer zone 2, staying on the door, leaving some room for the transition here to outer zone 4 and 5. Dijon maybe not getting as close. It's hard to tell right now because these guys are such great drivers. But as we get into this last one, a mistake there from Dijon at the very pinnacle moment. And that looked like a straighten to me, but we'll send you to Craig for the replay.
Yeah, it's a tough one as we take another look on the replay. Ryan Litteral out front. Dijon giving chase. Graphic a little bit backwards there, but they continue on. Ryan Litteral out front on a really good lead line here. Smooth transition into outside zone 4. Picks up 5 pretty good as well. But Daejeon right there in that chase position. Here we go, that moment. Yeah, absolutely. We see Daejeon, it seems he may have over-rotated just a little bit, picks up throttle, starts to fall behind and over that drop-off. Daejeon having to get back into the drift afterwards. But we go to our judges. Daejeon on the left, Ryan Litteral on the right. Winner moves on into the final 4, our last top 8 battle. And there it is. Ryan Litteral moves on into the final 4 to face off against Ernestes. But Daejeon putting up a fight today and really showing out in that Corvette.
Daejeon giving it all he had there, but sadly a small mistake gave Ryan Litteral the win. But Daejeon come back in the next round and fight just as hard. As we now have our top 4 and we're ready to finish out our day, but we still got a few battles left to go. Coming up to the line now, Artem Chulkov, our #1 qualifier, up against Alexander Element in the Ferrari, Artem in the BMW. Now, reminder, we do have 3rd place battles, so whoever loses this one will go into that 3rd place battle slot, and then whoever loses the next one will face each other for the 3rd place as we move into our final fight of the day. But our attention to these two, Artem in the lead, Alex in the chase. Who will move on to the finals? The lights come on, and this battle is underway. Artem gets out of the gate clean as they come down and initiate into turn 1. Good initiation, but Alexander Element right there with him, really sticking it to the door of the BMW of Artem as they come through outer zone 3 and then 4. Nice and tight to that inside clip, making the transition back down and around to the last half of this course. Little hesitant there from the chase of Alexander Element, but what a wicked drive between these two.
Yeah, smooth start to this battle here as we take another look. Artem out front, Alexander giving chase. The battle for Ukraine here as they initiate in. Artem snapping the angle. Alexander Element staying with him though through this humongous bank turn. They continue on into outside zone 3, maybe dropping a little bit of tire is Artem as they continue on, filling that next outside zone very smooth through that transition. Alexander Element falling back just a little bit, maybe, just maybe some contact in that last and final transition. It's really hard to tell there between those two, but we'll flip them around and send them for the second half of their battle.
Well, at the start line they are and ready to go again. Now Alexander Element in that lead lane. Artem Chulkov ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off we go. Initiating in through outer zone 1. Artem on the attack. But a good line here from Alexander Element, but Artem's already glued to the door of that Ferrari. They come through outer zone 3. Make the transition just barely on the bumper is Artem when they make those transitions. Keeping it glued to the side of the Ferrari. Little bit of dirt kicked up there. Couldn't tell if that was from the lead or the chase. They come into the final outer zone and finish out the run.
Yeah, really good battle here in the top 4 between these two. Alexander Element leading Artem through the replay here. Nicely done from Artem to get right onto that door. Alexander on a really good lead line though as he works his way through that inside clip, that next outside zone. Smooth on the transition as well. Artem falling back as he needs to for that transition, then right back into it. Yeah, maybe just a tiny little bit of dirt, and then I think the rest was from the dirty rumble strip, and there they go across that finish line, and we go to our judges for the first time here in the top 4. Artem Chulkov on the left, Alexander Element, not Alan Hines, on the right. Winner will go on into the finals, but the loser will stick around for their third place battle. Oh, we've got a split decision. Matt will be the decider. And he goes left for Artem Chulkov. Artem will move on into the finals against Alexander Element. Holy smokes, what a battle between those two. We'll see Artem in the finals once again, as we saw him take home round 1. But again, don't go anywhere, Element, as he's got that third place battle.
That's exactly what I was just going to remind him of. Don't run away yet, Alex. Stick around, hang out. We still have two more battles to get through. This one here, Ernestus Jakubelis, who should be in the lead lane. There we go. He figured it out. In that S14, then in the Sim Magic S15 in the chase lane, that is Ryan Litteral. And I actually think this is the furthest he's been in competition with us here at the Virtual Drift Championship. So big congratulations to Ryan making it this far. Let's see if he can make it any farther. Ernestus initiates in, looking good off the initiation. Ryan getting right up there on the door through outer zone 2 as they come down to that inside clip. Leave a little bit of room now. Make that transition happen. Maybe too much room there from Ryan. He had to cut the line just a little bit to be able to catch back up to Ernestus, who's driving a great line here as they come into that final outer zone. They get through the bump, but Ryan back on the door of Ernestus S14 as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, Ryan getting big time out of shape there in outside zone 3. Let's take another look at it. Super snappy initiation from Ernestus. Works up to the top of that bank nicely down to the inside clip. Ryan's still there with him, but it seems like Ryan just sort of gets stuck in angle maybe a little bit there and just gets left behind, but does a really good job to get back into the fight, and that is a tough task here on this course. It's really easy to go flying off one of these outside zones trying to make up a gap in that chase position, but again, Ryan doing a spectacular job in that chase to get back into the fight.
Well, we're not starting just yet, maybe, as Ernestus just typed in the game chat that he might need to take his 5-minute to reset his car. I think
if
that's
you
what he's waiting
can
for
believe
competition.
it, I'm pretty sure he ran into one of the semaphores and damaged his car. Which, to be fair, they do weigh 2 tons.
I'm going to check, and I'm going to bet you it was mine. It has been mine this entire time, the whole day. It was mine. I don't know why they've just been hitting mine all day, but with his suspension fixed, as the joys of the virtual world, a quick button brings you right back into the action. Ryan Litteral in the lead lane. The lights go on for the second half of this battle. Ernestus chasing him down, initiating in. Looking good for Ryan Litteral off the initiation. Ernestus a good distance away, keeping good proximity, slowly closing that door as they come towards outer zone 3. Now the transition for outer zone 4 and down into 5. Ernestus keeping great proximity, keeping a good distance towards Ryan Litteral for these transitions, but hits Ryan Litteral into the wall!
Oh my goodness. Wow. What a way to end that run. Let's take another look at it on the replay. Ryan Litteral out front, initiating in, very smooth. Works his way up to the top of that bank turn, down to the inside clip. Ernestus applying some pressure in that chase position, doing a really good job in that chase so far. Does take a second to get to angle there through that first transition. Trying to reel Ryan back in. Ryan on a really smooth line here, and yeah, he goes to pick up throttle on time just after those little diagonal hashes in that outside zone. And Ernestus coming in hot. Is that going to be the deciding factor? Judges might take their time here and assess it, because again, even though you pick up throttle on time, doesn't mean that you are technically doing it correctly. You can't lose too much speed. So if the judges see that Ryan is dropping too much speed for that zone, then it would go to Ernestus. But if not, it's going to Ryan, and we'll see Ryan in the finals here for round 3.
Just when I thought my heart couldn't take anymore.
Yeah, and well, it's going to take more. Ryan Litteral gets the win. We'll see him in the finals. But Ernestes and Alexander Element are going to face off for their top 3 battle, their 3rd place position.
Absolutely unreal what this track has provided us. I know some people were a little skeptical about it being a fantasy track.
Ryan included.
It's not real. It's not real, but it has brought us some amazing action here for round 3 of the Virtual Drift Championship. Absolutely stunning. So, our 3rd place battle, Alexander Element in the Ferrari, in the lead lane, up against Ernestes Jakubelis in the S14, who will be chasing him down. The lights go on and the 3rd place battle is underway. Down the main straight they come, initiating in. Looking good for Alexander Element, leaving behind Ernestes a little bit off that initiation through the first 2 outer zones. Ernestes can't really seem to catch up, but now he's starting to get there after they transition for outer zone 5, now into 6. Ernestes maybe playing it a bit safe here, but really goes for the lunge onto Alex's door through that last outer zone.
Now let's take another look at it here. The first half of the 3rd place battle between these two. Alexander Element out front. Ernestes giving chase, and look at there, that lead that Alexander Element gets out to through that initiation. Ernestes having a hard time catching back up, maybe even straightens up in that chase position after inside clip 1, but gets back into the fight here. As we see on the screen now, Element on a really good lead line though, picking up throttle when he should, does jump off that zone just a little bit and then works back out there, and we'll flip him around for the second half of their 3rd place battle.
Well, back around at the start gate, they are ready to go. Ernestes Jakubelis in the lead position. Alexander Element ready to chase him down. Who will take 3rd place today? It could be either one of them. Initiating in, looking good for Ernestes. Alexander on the attack, though, out of outer zone 1. Dropping a bit of tire, though, was Ernestes out of outer zone 2. Keeping on the door is Alexander Element as they transition to outer zone 4 and 5. Alex is giving him no breathing room through these outer zones. He's keeping it glued to that S14. They come into the final outer zone now, and a big push here to get through it and finish out. What a lovely run.
Yeah, a fantastic battle between these two for that 3rd place position and last podium spot. Ernestes out front, initiating in nicely. Snaps to that angle, works out to that outside zone. I mean, just barely dropping that tire off the edge of the course. I think, honestly, it'd be like a 1-point deduction as they work their way through. Alexander Element, though, staying with him nicely. Ernestes snappy again on that transition, and then smoothly done for the last and final outside zone. Could have been deeper for sure, but fantastic battle nonetheless. We'll go to our judges between these two. Alexander Element on the left, Ernestes on the right, and look at there, Alexander Element gets the win. He takes home 3rd place today in that massive Ferrari. Nicely done by Alexander Element. We'll work on getting your card picture sorted, and we'll see you back for another round.
Well, we've been through qualifying, we've been through the last 16, we've been through the top 32, 16-8, and now it is time for the final battle of the day. In the lead position, Artem Chulkov in the BMW, and chasing him down, a man who probably thinks he wouldn't have gotten here today, Ryan Litteral in the Sim Magic S15 here for round 3 of the Virtual Drift Championship at the Pascani MotorPark. They initiate in, and looking good off the initiation. Ryan Litteral trying to catch back up to Artem through outer zone 2 as he pulled away just a little bit there. But now through outer zone 3, Ryan's back up in the pocket and able to keep it on the door of Artem as they transition back around through outer zone 6 and 7. And now on the brakes for that final outer zone. A little bit more inside was Ryan Litteral, but they still finish out side by side.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. It almost looked like Ryan got caught napping, but it seems like he was already rolling and good, but really got left behind before initiating in. Artem on a really good line here, and Ryan doing a good job to try and reel him back in, and he does so right there along the bumper through that first transition, flying through that course and understeering just a little bit is Ryan, almost catching that bumper, but then he finally does there for that last and final transition. He hits the back of Artem Chulkov's M2, but they keep it going anyway and across that finish line. Again, anything can happen as we saw earlier, so we'll flip him around. Ryan will now lead.
We sure can. This means we are down to the final run of the day. We want to thank Sim Magic, Extreme Sim Racing, Grip Royal, Joka Design, and of course Ali Youssef for our wonderful bracket. As we get underway, Ryan Litteral out front, Artem Chulkov for the final one of the day. An upset from Artem Chulkov. Ryan Litteral has to complete this run. I'm on my feet. My heart is in my throat. Ryan Litteral comes through outer zone 4 into 5 into 6, now into 7. One more outer zone to navigate for Ryan Litteral. Came here thinking it's a fantasy track and has now taken home.
Jeez, let's take another look at it. I don't even know how this happened. We'll see Ryan initiate in. Oh man, and Artem was just maybe a little too soon on it, trying to get back in it. And it honestly looked like he was headed for Ryan's door with the front of his car. So honestly, a good job to get out of it. I'm sure Zach came over the bike and just told him to finish the run. Ryan did just that. He continues on, last and final transition, filling that zone. And then twice with Ryan, we thought he threw it away, thought he had the battle lost, and then it flips around and something crazy happens. We'll pull up the judges one more time.
We have to wait for them.
We do have to wait for them.
That's why I didn't want to say anything too early. I was like, wait a second, I gotta stop.
Oh man, Artem on the left, Ryan on the right. Wait on the sliders. There they go, starting to go right, and it is. Ryan Litteral gets the win here. I'll tell you what, Ryan has been doing an insane amount of sim practice. Honestly, he's probably the one pro driver from the real life, from FD or DMAC or wherever, that has really hunkered down and really taken VDC seriously. And I tell you what, it pays off. And he was, the other day, he was so mad at this track. He hated it. He was yelling, screaming at his car at the track. And now look at him, taking the win here for round 3 of Pascani. Congratulations to Ryan. Congratulations to everybody as well. We'll pull up that last and final bracket so that you can see first, second, and third. Congratulations, Ryan Litteral, Artem Chulkov, and Alexander Element. You will be getting some pretty substantial gift cards from Extreme Sim Racing for the round. And that'll work towards their season standings too, to win even more from Extreme Sim Racing. A total of a 10K pot in gift cards to Extreme Sim Racing to just get whatever they want to from them. And then they can do whatever they want to with it as well. So again, congratulations to them. What an event this track put on for all of us to enjoy today. A ton of one more times, insane battles. Super fast, and we can't wait to release it to the public as well. Put it on our public servers. It's gonna be tough at first for the general public, but once you get it, it is just a ton of fun. I mean, you're burying the throttle through the floor, and it all just comes down to that transition timing. I believe they're going to take their 3-man train, as they should. A tradition that started a while back here in the Virtual Drift Championship, and they do it every single round. First, second, and third will go through the course.
A man who's won in real life and now won in the virtual space. I hope Ryan Litteral's enjoying this right now.
Of course he does, right? Oh man, a lot of fun from all three of those drivers and everyone that competed today. Just fantastic battles, good qualifying as well. I think our lowest score that we had all day was a nice score, a 69, and that was, you know, on the lower end of that driver's score. We needed an 88 to even make it into the last 16. Drivers just upping their skills each and every single time. Right. So again, man, I need to breathe.
Yeah.
Oh man. Again, thank you for everyone that chose to tune in today. I hope you all enjoyed the event. We certainly did. I enjoyed every single last bit of it. Just one crazy battle after another. It was a joy to watch, and a huge shout out to our sponsors as well. Sim Magic, Extreme Sim Racing, now joining the Virtual Drift Championship family. Grip Royal, Joka Design, and Ali Use. A big shout out to all three of our judges as well up there. Chris Vitalski, Ed, and Matt. Carl and Dion also in the background helping out with those graphics, changing those names and stuff. It's a whole cohesive thing. And thanks to you, Tanner, showing up, having a good time with me today, and enjoying these battles, trying to breathe through them and stay alive.
You know, there's been we've been doing this a long time together, and I think this is the craziest it's been. This round was absolutely wild, and this season has been wild, and it's only gonna get better. So for all of you watching, there's a red button. You're gonna press it, hit that subscribe, hit the bell, follow us on social media so you don't miss out when we return on March 30th.
Absolutely. And make sure you join the Discord as well. All of our tracks, same with the cars, VDC 4.0 cars are coming shortly. We're making sure that we have everything in order for that public release. We don't like doing hot fixes and stuff like that. It leads to a lot of confusion sometimes, and questions being asked of why they can't join the server and stuff like that. So we're getting them dialed in, getting some new sounds on those cars as well. Maybe even a couple new cars to add to the list as well, maybe, you know? And getting this track released, this marks our midway point of the season. That's round 3 done. There's 6 total rounds, so 3 more rounds to go, and all brand new layouts and tracks to go as well. So some more excitement out of us for sure coming up for the rest of the season. That people definitely shook the points up today as well.
I don't know if you read chat, but apparently his wheel broke.
Oh no, that's no good.
That's what happened there into turn 1, into that outer zone. The wheel broke, and that's why he went off.
Going a little too hard in the paint, you know? Sounds like he needs to maybe get himself a sim edit, you know? Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, you know what? With what he won today through Extreme Racing, he can definitely put that towards it. Maybe even like get an Alpha Mini out of it. So a good thing that he went all the way to second place. That'll be good for him. He can use that towards something new, and then hopefully we'll see him right back for round 4, and he won't have, you know, really any downtime. But yeah,
Very
super
true.
proud of everybody today, especially Ryan. Again, he's been taking it super serious ever since he got into the Virtual Drift Championship. Really takes his time to hone in his craft and just practice almost every single day. He even gets mad at Zach when Zach gets off early and he doesn't get to practice with him. It's a good one, all good and fun. But it certainly paid off today. Maybe getting away with a little bit here and there, but that's how it goes. You know, that is competition drifting in a nutshell. Anything can happen, any single run, any half of the run as well. And Ryan comes home with that victory in that Sim Magic S15 of his. But we're going to cut things off from there. Again, appreciate everyone for tuning in today. And we'll be back again March 30th. So right around the corner, just a few weeks for round 4. Have a good day.